learners, my name is Arthur Richtel and I'm a tutor on Cambly. Today you'll be learning about pronouns and agreement. So let's first define what pronouns are and then go into the different pronouns that exist. Firstly, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. And in English, pronouns exist in three cases, and you can think of these cases as different categories. These categories are the subjective case, also called the nominative case. There is the objective case, which may be called the accusative. And finally, you have the possessive case, which may also be called the genitive. Of course, pronouns do not only have cases, they also have form, and you can categorize them as the first, second, or third person, and they come in both singular and plural. First, we have the subjective case forms, and these are I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. Here are a few sentences. For the singular, in the first person, we can say, I love cars. Second person, you can say, you enjoy fine cuisine. For the third person singular, she flies to New York every month. For the plural forms, we can have the first person as, we live in a farm. For the second person plural, we can say, you all have to be here by noon. And in the third person plural, they prefer to travel by car. The forms of the objective case are me, you, him, her, it, us, you, and them. Here are some sentences. For the singular forms, in the first person, Tom gave me the contract. For the second person singular, Michelle sent you the tickets. And for the third person singular, the courier delivers him mail on Tuesdays. So let's continue on to the plural forms. For the first person, we have Jane called us to her party. For the second person plural, I called you three to go out. And finally, for the third person plural, I gave them my money. Now we have finally come to the possessive case, specifically the predictive possessives. And the form of the possessive pronouns are mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, yours, and theirs. Now remember that the possessive pronouns I just mentioned differ from the possessive adjectives, whose forms are my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. Here are some sentences. In the singular for the first person, this cup is mine. In the singular for the second person, that purse is yours. And in the singular for the third person, those papers are hers. Now on to the plural possessives. And we have in the first person, the jackets are ours. In the second person plural, these phones are yours. And in the plural of the third person, those dirty sneakers are theirs. Okay, since we covered the pronouns, now let's go on to our next topic, agreement. To our exercise here, it is the relation between the subject and the verb. They must match in both number, singular or plural, and in person, whether first, second, or third. So let's take the regular verb walk as an example, and let's see how it agrees with all subjective case pronouns. In the first person singular, we have I walk. In the second person singular, we have you walk. For the third person singular, he walks, she walks, it walks. The first person plural, we have we walk. Now the second person plural, you walk. And finally, the third person plural, they walk. And remember to check if the verb you are using ends in ch, s or ss, sh, x, or z. In these cases, the verbs do not only take s, they take the es endings. For the first person singular, we're going to use the verb catch, as in I catch. The second person singular, you catch. However, in the third person singular, he, she, it catches. For the examples with the s or ss ending, we can use the verb hiss. In the first person singular, I can say I hiss. For the second person singular, you hiss. Finally, for the third person singular, he, she, it hisses. On to the sh ending, and for the example, we will use the verb wash. In the first person singular, I wash. For the second person singular, you wash. And in the third person singular, he, she, it washes with the es ending. Now with verbs with the x ending, we can demonstrate the change by using the word mix. In the first person singular, I mix. The second person singular, you mix. However, in the third person singular, he, she, it mixes. The Z ending, we will use the word blitz. In the first person singular, I blitz. In the second person singular, you blitz. However, in the third person singular, we have he, she, it blitzes. Also, verbs ending in Y, change the Y for an I and add the ES ending as well. For this example, we can use the verb fry. In the first person singular, I fry. The second person singular, you fry. However, in the third person singular, he, she, it fries. For those who are unfamiliar with Cambly, Cambly gives you instant access to friendly native English speakers like me. Schedule your next lesson with me using the link below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.